Hey, and welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name's Ruben, and this is my review for Netflix's live-action adaptation of the Cowboy Bebop animation. There's 10 episodes, some of them an hour long. I'm here to give you non-spoilers. I hope you enjoy this review. Do give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Very excited, to talk about this. Let's jump in. A ragtag crew of bounty hunters chases down the galaxy's most dangerous criminals. They'll save the world for the right price. Faye, Spike, and Jet are our main protagonists series, much like the anime. First thing that I need to say is that I'm not a huge fan of Cowboy Bebop. I think I've watched the series twice through and the film, and so I haven't been one of those that have watched every single episode and dissected it and analyzed it. But I am coming from the aspect of I do love anime and understand the reference of how they've influenced modern media and how they've even become even more popular now. It's a reason why we get so many adaptations. But when you come to something like this, you have to ask yourself the question, did it need to be made? Disney do this thing where they adapt live their animated series and movies, and they're not necessarily better, they just are okay. And so that's the question that is always coming to my mind when I'm watching the live adaptations. Did it need to be made? The animation is still there. It came out in 98. Firefly was an interesting Joss Whedon series that was definitely influenced by Cowboy, from the space cowboys to the relationships to the broken down ship that's breaking apart to the bounty hunters to some of the dialogue, even very, very similar. So it has influenced media 100%, the anime. So now we have this live action. And I was very excited when I saw originally the trailer come out with the intro. I was like, that's great. But now, if you're looking at the intro between each episode, you'll notice how they're showing bits of... It's basically Easter eggs of stuff that's coming in further subsequent episodes. In the anime, it was silhouetted. That's something that Chris from Movies and Munchies reminded me that I needed to check out to make sure that I didn't spoil it, or that anybody watching doesn't spoil it for themselves. It's a weird way to go with it, but nevertheless, the series itself is a lot of fun, and I really like the camaraderie between the banter that makes this series great. I think that is what kind of it leans itself on. Besides the aesthetics, which looks very expensive, and the fighting, which we'll talk about in a moment, I thought the banter, it played well. But it did take me 5 episodes to get into the kind of the format and the feel. Even though I love the anime, it still took me a while to understand what they were trying to do with this, because it felt like they were mimicking but also doing their own thing. There are storylines here that are intertwined differently from how they did in the anime. And that's one thing that you got to go into with this anime adaptation thinking, is that they have taken an IP that is very much loved, but they are doing their own thing, but also trying to pay homage as much as they can to the original. So it's not a direct copy. They are doing things differently, and you'll notice certain characters are revealed sooner, or certain storylines are different. Just by the episodes being an hour long, you got to wonder what they're putting in there. And there is a lot of things that they're putting in there that's not in the anime. That would be to be expected. I do love the look of it. Stylistically, it's fantastic. It kind of jumps off the screen. The worlds that they visit, the ship, the characters, everything feels alive. It feels like a lived-in world. So when you're going into like an episode, stuff has happened before. There's a lot that you feel like you've missed out on, but that's okay. You're just gonna kind of pick up what's going on. You got to pick up on their past and their history. Some of that will be revealed. If you're coming into this as a first-time viewer, you haven't watched the anime, I do think it will take a few episodes for you to get into it, as the story starts revealing who these characters are, and you start understanding what's going on with the past. It does give you little tidbits, and by the midway point, literally beginning of episode 6, I felt like the team was kind of there, and I knew enough about them for me to care about them. That's coming from okay, I don't really understand this world. This universe, what is going on with all these characters? It seems to be all over the place. One minute we're going there on a bounty. Next minute we're following the love arc, which is the core premise for this whole relationship, broken love, and retribution or revenge storyline that seems to be kind of floating about. Every now and again we will touch on that arc, but then we're going to go to a bounty, very similar to Firefly again. And then if you're coming from the side of the fans, you'll be like, why have they revealed that character now? Why they're, especially if you watched it recently. The best thing I can say, if you're a fan and you haven't watched it for a few years, maybe do yourself a favor and don't watch the original anime again. Watch this from a mind of maybe you've forgotten a few things, because there might be a few things that tick you off. However, I did love the costumes. I thought they looked great. It stands out as a, had this not been called Cowboy Bebop, I might have thought this was brilliant. The action sequences are interesting, although it does feel like they've been slowed. Again, something a friend of mine pointed out, where they go, sure, very methodical movements, but does seem like if you're watching John Wick that would have been slowed down. There's no, it's more, but that's also, if you look at the anime is faster than that. So it's a choice, a way of doing it stylistically so you understand and see what's going on. I didn't mind it, I just thought it was a different choice that I wasn't expecting. The flights, the spaceship designed all looked incredible. The score is definitely a standout. The jazz theme that they've gone for, they're obviously doing some of their own, but incorporating some of that original to make you feel, not just nostalgic, but make you feel like you're in the Cowboy and Bebop world. I did enjoy it, but at the same time, like, I can understand why people wouldn't enjoy it. It took me half the series to be invested into it properly to make me want to watch the rest. So you take from that what you will. It's definitely going to be a Marmite, I think. I've already seen some reviews where people are ripping it apart and ranting about it and pulling it apart, like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Why did you do that then? I think you do need to come from this of, this is their kind of take on it, and it's very creative. The shots themselves, the way they shoot certain sequences, the way they do fight sequences, the way they do comedy. I, for one, liked it, understood what they're going for. It does make me a little bit worried about One Piece, though, because that anime is one of my favorite of all time. I'm very close to that anime, and yeah, so I could understand why fans would be upset. At the same time, I still enjoyed it. I'm going to give this 3.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5. I wanted to give it a 4, but it just isn't as good as that. But the quality of how they made it, the creativeness in it is excellent. And I really enjoyed the banter between the characters. I thought that was fun. Let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite anime of all time? And what do you think is the most influential anime of all time? I think it might be Akira, something like that. Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.